So, I'm just saying, like, with those kind of things, like, that kind of stuff, it still bothers me, obviously, but you can't carry it with you into the spirit world. Like, I'm gonna go find that driver in the spirit world because I'm gonna do something to you. Like, you cannot go to that level, okay? Even I know that. Like, because I don't know a whole lot. But I know that. Okay, so you can't do that. Trust me, there are times where I am tested to just take my Godzilla sword into your car, okay? There's many times I have been tested, but I can't do it. So you guys, I don't know if anybody else has ever wondered this, but sometimes I'll watch movies where it's a really corny scene, okay? Because I used to never believe in it until it happened to me. So there's a scene in movies where they portray it where, like, it's you, like, it's your spirit, and you can see everybody around you, and you're like yelling at them, trying to get their attention, and they cannot hear you. They cannot hear you. And that desperate moment that those people would feel and portray, I know what it's like. Welcome back, you guys. I'm Tassie, and this is my Shaman Memoirs channel. I know, it's been a while, okay? Trust me, I know. So last time I did an update, it was a couple months ago. And since then at work, I've just been doing 12+ hour days every single day. And it has been very, very draining on me. Usually with my schedule, I film and I edit my stuff during the weekdays. I try to keep everything in line so that way on my weekends, I really have it for myself to run my errands, to get my ramen and groceries. So, I know the summer has been really crazy as well. My family, I've had more family move from California, and then my sister and her husband, they just left the military. So they moved from Okinawa to Minnesota. So it's been a lot. It's been a lot, you guys. Every now and then I've been trying to update you guys on my social media page. So thank you for those who follow me there. You guys can see my little, crazy stuff that sometimes I put out there. So thank you guys for that. Thank you everybody for being very patient. But I am trying to get things back on track and really just focusing and really trying to make time for everybody. So here we go. So in this video, we're going to be talking a bit about all of my ghostly updates because, just because I'm not filming, it doesn't mean ghostly stuff doesn't happen to me. And then we're going to go into a topic that somebody has been really wanting me to talk about. So we're going to talk about vessels and how that correlates with being a shaman. So hopefully this will help other people too, because I definitely had this question in my mind for a long time. Even as a child, I had a really misconstrued conception about shamanism. I've touched base on this a lot in other videos. So in this one, we're going to go into talking really about what it's like being a vessel. All right, so we need to go over some ghostly updates that have happened since I haven't been filming, really just to catch you guys up. And one thing that happened recently that was really scary, I had a sleep paralysis moment. So I had mentioned to you guys that I have a younger sister who just left Japan and she moved here to Minnesota. So before that, she lived in California. She hasn't lived in Minnesota since like over 10 years ago. So she was a kid back then. Now she's in her late 20s. And so my sister there, when she was in Japan, she was haunted a lot. Okay. This is just setting up the premises for the story because it was through her video on Facebook when we were talking. I saw the ghost that was all blue face, like a vengeful ghost that's in Japan because they exist, man. Anyways, so that sister, she's living here in Minnesota, and so we're hanging out at my brother's. Earlier in the day, we went to go have brunch. And like, I'm old now, you guys. I'm 34 years old. So after a big meal, I get tired. I want to take a nap, you guys. So we're hanging out in my brother's living room, and there's a couch there. And it's like, I go and I lay down on the couch, and then my other younger sister from Japan, she's laying there too. I have other siblings and everything, but they all kind of like left the house to go off and do their own thing, right? And then now my brother, he's actually also in the living room, and he's at his desk, and he's like doing something on social media with his computer. Okay, so we're laying there, and my younger sister, she's on the couch, and she's literally on her phone, but she's looking in my direction. So like those like L couches style. Okay, so she's like, our faces are pretty close to one another. So I'm just like laying there, because originally I was on my phone and I had a blanket covering me because I was cold, and the blanket is covering me like about up to here, but there's like a gap between me and the blanket because of my shoulder. Anyways, so I was on my phone and my sister was on her phone, and then eventually I start to fall asleep. So I'm like, I'm just gonna put my phone down. So I tuck my phone under my pillow there, and then I start to like fall asleep. Now there is a moment where I feel my sister get up off of the couch. And then she goes and does something, and then she comes back and she jumps back onto the couch, and she's back on her phone, but she's looking right at me. Okay, well, this is happening. And I'm still laying there, and then as soon as my sister jumped to the couch, that her movement of when she got off and when she came back on, it woke me up. And that's where the problem started. Because then as soon as my sister jumps back onto the couch, like probably 5 seconds later, something else jumped onto this couch too. And I feel it moving, like the couch moves, like when somebody jumps on, right? And it's sitting in the top corner, but it's like me and then like my sister, and that entity is right there. All right, so right before all of this waking up stuff happened, I was dreaming about me and my sister who was on the couch. Now there was a girl who was there, and then there was another entity. And I remember it was me and my sister, and I was getting kind of afraid because I'm like, who are these other two people? So I look at the girl and I ask her, for some reason in my head, I asked her, are you Hmong? And if they answer that they were Hmong, then it meant that they're not like a bad ghost, okay? So I kept like just making them try to answer me, because the girl just kept staring at me, and she was kind of alarmed, like, why are you asking me if I'm Hmong? So finally she answers me, and she says, no, I'm Vietnamese. And then I don't know why that didn't register as being scary to me, even though in my head I knew they had to be Hmong, because if they weren't Hmong, it was something scary. And then I turned, because I was looking at the girl and I was like, okay, I guess you're Vietnamese, you're not Hmong. So then I turn and I look at the other entity and I ask it as well, are you Hmong? And this entity stared at me like frozen for so long, and I was like, hello, like, you need to answer me, are you Hmong? And then it spoke in a different language, and it was trying to say, I am Hmong, because it knew that that was the answer I wanted, but it didn't know how to say the exact words. And in that moment, I freaked out, because I'm like, this is the one we're looking for. Like, this is the odd one out. This one is the dangerous one. And then my sister had jumped off of the couch, and then she jumped back on after she went to go grab something, because I think she had to go do something for somebody. And then she jumped back on, and then that, like 5 seconds later, that's when the other entity also jumped onto the couch. And I remember I kept like, because I was half awake, half asleep, I kept trying to ask my sister who jumped onto the couch, like, who is that third person? And she wasn't responding to me. So I was like, okay, is something wrong? Like, how come she's not answering me? Because I'm not really aware that I'm not really asking her. It's just all in my dreams still. But it's like I'm like awake and I'm aware of what's going on, but nobody can hear me. And then so finally I'm like trying to touch my sister now. Like, hey, I'm talking to you, because she's on her phone. And so I realized in that moment I can't really move my arm, right? And because I'm trying really hard to touch her and point into the corner. Who is there? Like, who is that? And so in reality, this is what I was doing, you guys. Remember that blanket that was covering me? My arm was like this, okay? So I'm doing this to her. I'm pointing. What is that? What is that? Because I can't have the energy to move my whole arm like this. So I'm just pointing, you guys. But the blanket's covering me. And even though my sister's looking at my face, she can't see my hand by my head saying, what is that thing? So then I start to realize, like, okay, I'm in danger. There's something really bad that's about to happen or could happen. So then my spirit leaves my body. And now that I think about it, I don't even know how it happens. It's just one of those moments where you are so terrified, you suddenly realize, oh, I can do this. And you can leave your body, okay? So literally my spirit leaves my body and I can see the whole room and I can see what they're all doing. My body is still there and my sister is still there just on her phone. So I go to my brother. because my brother is still in the living room. And that entity, I can see that it's there, but I can't make out its face. I can't make out a lot of features. I just know we're in trouble. So I run to my brother, and in true fashion, like the movies, he couldn't hear me. He couldn't see me. I'm screaming at him. I'm yelling at him. I'm like, dude, do something. There's something in the corner. So since he couldn't hear me, the next thing that came to me was, I need to talk to his spirit guides. So my brother, my older brother there, he's also supposed to be a shaman, but he hasn't. Okay, the key part of this story is that he hasn't risen his shrine. He's not a shaman. But me, I go and I yell into his ear, and I'm directing his guys like, this is the moment, you guys need to get up right now. And then they jump out of his body and they're ready to fight. But they are gummy bears, you guys. I saw the gummy bear. They look like men. They had spears and they had swords, you guys. But they were these short, tiny, 3 feet gummy bear men. And I remember looking at them like, oh my God, we're going to die now. Because my brother, he's not a shaman yet. He hasn't trained his people to be strong and to be able to fight. So these gummy bear guys and me, I'm like, well, this is all I got. And yes, my siblings did ask me, how come you didn't call your own spirit guides? Because this wasn't my fight, man. This isn't my problem. So his gummy bear men, okay, I'm like, oh my God, they can't even move. So I breathe life into them so that way they can move. And then that entity in the corner, it leaped and it jumped into one of the gummy bear men. And I did apologize to my brother too for the next part. Because then I went to that gummy bear and I ripped him in half. And I looked inside of the gummy bear and I could see the gummy bear body where it's kind of like a pinkish, color, and it's clear, see-through, Anyways, and then there was a neon green color mixed in that clear pinkish color of the gummy bear. And I knew that was the demon. So what did I do? I started kicking that gummy bear. I kicked him and I kicked him until finally that neon green, it floated into the air and then evaporated. And then I woke up. Yeah. Yes. So that was my sleep paralysis story. So here's the thing. Get this, you guys. It gets weirder. I was telling my brother and my sister the story when I woke up. And I was like still kind of like in a daze, like, oh my God, like you guys don't know, we almost died right now. And my sister, right when I was telling her, when I ripped open the gummy bear, inside mixed with the color of that pinkish clear see-through color, and then she yelled out, it was neon green. And I looked at her and I was like, how did you know? And she told me, so when she left Japan, she went to California first, and she drove from California to Minnesota with my other sister who also moved here. And she told me that when they were at a hotel for the night, she was sleeping, and while she was waking up, and by the way, this sister here, she can also see spirits, especially when she's like just waking up. So she was waking up in the middle of the night and she saw this neon green kind of fog smoke floating over my other sister. And my other sister, it was really weird because in that moment, my other sister, not the one from Japan who was seeing the neon floating green thing, my other sister, she was asleep, but in her dream, she was trying to pet her dog. So my other sister was watching the other sister trying to touch the green smoke, but she actually didn't touch it. But yeah, like that's I was just like, I did not know that whatever entity is with my other sister there was the color neon green until that moment, that sleep paralysis moment. So it was just, I'm just like, man, you got issues. So yeah, it was just like, that was just the craziest sleep paralysis moment I've had since I've had to take a hiatus from filming, you guys. Speaking of dreams, not too long ago, I had a dream where my family and I, we were going to this house, and on the other side of the house, it's like a big, beautiful mansion, but on the other side, it's kind of like, it's like a deck that leads out to the ocean or the water. And I remember that night in my dream, there was going to be fireworks. So I was telling my family, oh, well, let's go watch down the deck because that's where we're going to have the best view. We love fireworks over water. And so as we headed out there, there was this man that appeared on a boat. He came on a boat and he went up to our house and he asked if he could dock there. And so he could watch the fireworks too. And he didn't have to worry about driving his boat during the fireworks. And I told him, no, this is our house, because I had a creepy feeling about this guy who came. And this guy, he was like looking at one of my other younger sisters, and I felt like he was like trying to take advantage of her, but in my dream, she was like going along with it. And I'm like, no, you need to leave. Like, this is our house. You're not welcome here. You can't park here, blah, blah. So the weird part was that same night, my sister, she told me she had a dream that a strange man came and he asked her to leave with him, and she went. And so, and he took her to like a war-torn country, and she knew it was a really dangerous area that she was going to, but she followed him anyways. But anyways, so like this sister, we've known that she's been having an entity trying to follow her and, you know, not let her go. And so, you know, it's a trend in my family, you know, like all of us is haunted, you guys. I had Michael on me forever. Yeah, this is nothing new, okay? So yeah, like my sister there, she's like always hears voices and everything. And so she's just, yeah, so she's like terrified too. And she couldn't believe that we had the dream the same night. And I'm like, dude, it's because you've already fallen into its trap, man. I was like, there's only so much I can do for all you guys, okay? And recently, I actually went to go hooplee for another sister, okay? My older sister and her kids and everything, like she's married and stuff, so we went to go do a hooplee for them. And when I was doing the hooplee, I've mentioned this in other hooplee videos I've talked about, you guys. When I hooplee, it's almost like when you go and shayai, or like you go and ask a shaman for services where you have questions, right? The only biggest difference is when I hooplee, I'm not looking for your answers. I just tell you everything that I see when I hooplee for you. I go everywhere that you may have lost your spirit somewhere. Somebody knew somebody when they were younger, and that person had passed away, and they actually went to their funeral. So I saw that person attached to them and how they had their spirit still stuck there at the funeral. So I had to go get that, but then I had to pause. And I was like, dude, did you go there? And they were like, yeah, I did. I know exactly who you're talking about. Like, I was scared during the funeral too. I was like, okay. And then, and so it's just really funny because like I will go and I'll see all of these things that you've done, and I'm collecting all the spirits. And so finally we're doing the last round, you guys. And during the last round, I use horns and I use the gong. Okay. So when I hooplee, other shamans will choose different types of tools though, but those are my favorite tools that my spirit guides and we always like. And so I was on the last round, and the horns, when you're reading the horns, they have to face certain ways to give you an answer, right? So one of the ways that the horns have to face is both of them have to be facing up. All right. So it means that the spirit has risen. So no matter what I did, and we burnt a lot of money during this session. Okay. So no matter what I did, the horns wouldn't face up. So then I keep hearing all this arguing in my head, and I'm like, what is that? And so finally I stopped, and then I look at the family and I'm like, which one is it? And they're just looking at me like, what's going on? And I was like, one of y'all got into a really bad fight and y'all need to apologize. And everybody was like, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. But guess who wasn't there? Two people in that family wasn't there when I was asking this, because they were upstairs. It's like a split level house. So they were upstairs trying to get something, right? And so I'm like, no, you guys need to ask those two. It was those two. And then everybody else, the family who was there watching me hooplee, they were like, oh yeah, well, there was that time. And then and then after they acknowledged it, I said to that person's spirit, okay, I'll make them apologize to you guys. And then I threw the horns and they both stood up, and I was like, yep, that was it. So then I go up there and I see them, right? So we're done with the hooplee and I see them, and I'm like, hey, I don't want you to ask any questions, but can you just do this for me? Can you go ahead and sincerely apologize to this other person. And they didn't know what I was referring to. So then, it's a hooply day. It's a celebration day for the family. We, like, regardless if you fight, you don't get along, like, you just have to forgive and move on. So then they were like, like saying, like, I'm really sorry, if I've said anything that's really hurt you. And then we told them what happened and what exact situation it was related to. And then they were like, what? Wait a minute. And I was like, nope. My end of the deal was to get you to apologize. That's it. Whether now that you realize the real situation and you still think you were in the right, that's not part of the deal. So I always find hooplies to be so enlightening because you learn I learned so much, but I also realize, like, whenever I do anything that's like shaman related, I really forget just how stupid I am. Because it's one of those things where you could have done the same thing so many times, but I get yelled at every single time I do it again, because it'll be moments where they'll always, like, my spirit guides, they're always watching me and they get really excited whenever it's anything shaman related. So they're literally just hovering me over me constantly, and they're watching me and whatever I'm thinking, whatever I'm doing, and they're correcting me as I go, constantly correcting me. And I'm just like, man. So there was a moment where I just turned to my sister and I was like, thank God I can hear them. Because literally I would just be like, I don't even know what the heck I'm doing. Even though I've done it so many times, without them constantly telling me, I wouldn't have known. But that really goes to show, you guys, I don't know everything. All right, the next part, it's going to be about houses. So recently, I've had people who have moved, and one of those people, I had to go and I helped sweep the house. Now, here's the thing with sweeping of houses, you guys. It does not get rid of really strong entities. Just the easy ones. You want to cleanse the space. But, sometimes there's like, even when I'm sweeping and I know super heavy dark things, they're not going to go away with just your little bargain, okay? I was like sweeping the house, right? And then my spirit guides, they told me, you need to open up all the doors. And I was like, what? What do you mean doors? And they were like, in the kitchen, you need to open up all the cabinets. They like to hide in there. And I'm like, thank you. So here I am, like, opening the cabinets, and I'm getting scared as I'm opening up the cabinets, you guys. So I'm opening up all the cabinets, and I'm like, okay. I'm just sweeping through the house really quick. And then we get to the bedroom. And there is 2 closets in this bedroom. And there is this particular closet where I'm like, oh no. I freaking hate closets, man. So I open up that closet and I'm like, you gotta leave, like, but I'm getting chills up and down because I'm like so freaking scared. Because I'm like, and I'm making somebody go with me throughout the whole house as I'm doing this. Okay, you guys, I was not alone doing this. Because this entity was just like challenging and staring at me. And I'm just like, I'm not here for this today, like, but it was like, as I was like brushing the actual entity, I felt chills, like, it was just like, oh my God, like I'm just joking. You can stay in your corner. Oh, but anyways, yes, but I have slept at this place. Knowing that that dark thing is still there, I have slept there. And I remember when I woke up, I saw something run. Because, like, the bedroom door was open. You could see out into the living room. And I remember from the bedroom, I opened my eyes and I turned my head up. And I saw legs running. Like, nobody else was in that room. They were, like, running to get to the wall. So I couldn't see it. Because it wasn't prepared that I was going to move and get up that fast. And then so I was like, oh, whatever. And the person who lives there has told us, because they also work from home, they have told us that while they were working one day, a big heavy pot fell out of her cabinet, and it was her and her dogs, and they all heard it. And normally, you know, one of her dogs is really aggressive. He'll run and start barking and trying to eat people, right? This dog just looked at her like, I ain't going. So she hears this loud clatter, right? So she was like, what the heck? So she gets up and she walks over there and she's looking around. She goes into the kitchen, and on the kitchen floor is just one pot, but the cabinet door's closed. And she was like, what? Because she hadn't touched anything to make that cabinet move, or like that pot to possibly move and roll out on its own, and for the door to close on its own again. But you know, like, it's one of those things where you don't want to think too hard about it because you're alone with some dogs who won't come to this noise. And these dogs normally come for everything. And so it was just one of those things where, you know, you have to think happy thoughts because you don't want to scare yourself even more. And, you know, you just put it back and close that cabinet. And I'm just like, yeah, I told you they like to hide in cabinets. So yeah, that was like, I mean, like, other than that, I don't feel really like, I don't feel like threatened, like my life's in danger when I'm at that house though. Whereas the other house, there were many moments where I felt like I was being threatened. This other house, you know, I just gotta say really quickly, I know my video is getting really long, but a lot of ghostly stuff has happened. That I don't know what's going on, man, because one of the people who live in this house, they can see ghosts too. So I don't know why they can't see all these demons walking around, because these are like red-eye demons, okay? This isn't no regular haunting ghost in the corner who don't really bother you, okay? This is the kind of stuff that will scratch you and attack you, and I really don't know what happened. Why don't they care? That I don't know. Anyways, you know, like, if I go to someone's house, I'm not gonna be like, whoa, look at all these demons you got. You know, like, nobody does that, especially when it's like a housewarming and you've never been there and they're super happy they just bought this amazing new house. But it was just like, like, I had to keep looking at the floor, because if I look up anywhere, there's ghosts just, oh God. there's ghosts just staring at you, like, just constantly staring at you. And it's very unnerving. And one of the main bathrooms, it has, I went in there to go during the tour, and they were like showing me the bathroom, and I stupidly went into the actual shower. It's a glass door, you guys, and I opened it because it pulls out this way, and I stuck my head in there, and this red-eyed demon's looking back at me, and I'm like, never mind. And I just walked out of that room. And then when we went to go to the movie theater room, freaking amazing movie theater room, but I don't want to watch any movies in that room, because I remember we walk in there and I'm like, wow, like looking at the leather couches, and we're looking at the screen, and then I go and I sit down and I roll my seat all the way back, right? And then something else sits down next to me, and I'm like, nope, but I'm rolling myself back up. And I'm like, come on, leather chair, get up. And then it reaches over to try and touch me, and I hop up out of there, and I'm the first person to leave the movie theater room, because I'm like, nope. And so it's just, it's very, very, very terrifying. But you know, it's a nice house. It's a really nice house. It's just not for me. Like, I would never stay there alone. I would need a lot of people around me as sacrifices. I have no problem throwing you towards it while I make my escape, okay? And you guys know what? I realize I'm not the only person in the family who does this. So I think it's hereditary, where we tend to save ourselves. Okay, to the topic of this video, you guys. You know, like, I know it's been a lot since I've been on here. So with this video, I wanted to talk about a vessel. You know, like, really, what's it like? Is it possession? And really just what my experiences are when it comes to being a vessel and you are a shaman. I will say this again, in a lot of my videos I tell you guys this, but just in case this is your first time coming across my video, just know these are my experiences. I am not allowed to research and read up on other people's beliefs and studies when it comes to these kind of things, like spiritual stuff, because my spirit guides, they're very strict on how I can only learn what they teach me, not what someone else is teaching me. So here we go. So for myself, I see shamans and myself really as a vessel. You're a vessel for spirits to be able to communicate with you. And by no means at all is this possession. I will say, when I was younger, whenever you ask elders, what's it like being a shaman, you know, like what happens to them, everyone always says ghosts come and they do it. And it could be because of the limited Hmong language, where they don't really have a lot of ways to be descriptive. And these people probably weren't shamans either, okay? These are probably just stories they also heard from other people. And because I didn't know many shamans at all, you guys, growing up, okay? It's not like I had a grandpa who was a shaman. I didn't have that. I didn't have any grandfathers. They all died in the war, the Vietnam War. So, you know, it was just a theory that you were possessed, and that's how you had your powers, you know, like, because nothing else made sense, right? So, when I got older and I was told that if I did not become a shaman, I would die, I thought that a demon would pull me into hell. I don't know. Okay, like, I thought I was going to get murdered by a ghost, you guys. So the other option, though, because I went into a depression over it, because I was like, oh, but then I have to live my life being possessed by ghosts. Like, which one's worse here? So, you know, it was, I was definitely just really naive about these things, and I just went off of stereotypes and I had no idea what it was. I mean, I don't know why I didn't even think of it as there's so many people who are shamans. But then again, you guys, I didn't know any of any shamans. I didn't know any shamans. I didn't know anybody my age who was a shaman. It was just things you heard of. Like, oh, my sister-in-law's third cousin's wife is a shaman. And so it's not like, oh, it's my actual friend or it's my actual family member. So, because only elders were ever shamans, you know, and so, you know, I thought they were possessed. And then, you know, what actually happens though, you guys, and this is how you can tell it's not possession, okay? Because when the spirits do come, and I mean, that part alone sounds scary, okay? Let me just go back a little bit further, you guys. I've always talked about in my videos how you are your spirit guides and your spirit guides are you. But what a lot of people struggle with is differentiating between the two and knowing when it's the spirit guides, when it's you, when you're probably just imagining it, you're probably just making it up. So it takes time to build that relationship and you have to really know yourself and what you're willing to do. Okay. So when I say when they come, I probably am meaning, and that's right, probably am meaning, when you are a shaman and you're about to enter the spirit world using the traditional methods, like whether it's like through meditation or through chants. Because again, I follow Hmong shamanism, so my style, my knowledge is based off of Hmong shamanism. I'm not talking about every type of shamanism out there. However, what's commonly used is some kind of tool to induce the trance, per se. For my lineage, we hit the gong about 3 times, and that's kind of like a calling, and it's like a switch, and that's just when you know, okay, this is my moment, I'm okay, I can go into the spirit world. And whenever we say, or when I say they come as well, I also mean, like, if I'm just sitting here, they're here, you guys. They can see and hear me, I can see them. It's not like I have to be alone, I have to clear my mind and then they'll come, okay? Like, they're always here. So I guess, sorry you guys if it's a little confusing when I say they come. It's because they're always here. It's just depending on if I'm going to enter the spirit world with them or if I'm just talking to them. However, I really just see shamans and vessels as just a form of communication, okay? The gifts in itself, that does come based off of the individual and the type of spirit guides you have. Okay, so yes, per se, the spirits do give you your gifts. You could say it that way. However, the ability to see things with your own eyes, to hear things, to get the gut feeling, you know, like that, what they call like your intuition or your instincts, right? A lot of that is the individual. Because when I enter the spirit world, I can see things. I see people, I see places, I see what they look like, I see animals. I can see if I'm in the sky, on the ground, or in a cave, or in water. Okay, I can see those things. Not everybody will. All right, so that's really important to note. A lot of times, what's most common for shamans, when they go, they don't see anything. It's not common to see things. And then you have the ability to hear things. Many shamans do not hear things. Many of them don't. I don't, and that's why some of my videos, I don't like even mentioning that, the seeing and hearing things, because people, it's really easy to communicate when you can see and hear, right? So when you can't, then they tend to feel like it's a sense of failure, or why can't they? And that's all they hold on to. Same thing with feelings. The feelings one is the biggest one that most shamans will have. So, you know, I definitely, that form of communication with shamans and their abilities, the feeling is always the first natural instinct. And some people would even agree that feelings is actually the strongest of the gifts, meaning it's always accurate. It's always true. And then you're stuck with people like, how do you know it's my feeling? How do I know it's not a feeling I made up? And how do I really know I'm feeling this? That's another topic. Now, when I say it's not possession though, okay, so when I go into the spirit world, like the traditional method of having like a ceremony, or anytime a shaman has their tools and we hit the gong, and then I enter into the actual spirit world, at any point in time, I can stop. That is the key thing here, you guys. So to me, possession is somebody who you realize they are not themselves. And no matter what you're trying to do to get them to snap out of it, they can't. Okay, that is possession. If you feel afraid, that is possession. Because when I finally muster the courage to actually try and enter the spirit world in the way that my lineage does for shamanism, it wasn't scary. It wasn't as scary as I thought it was. It was all in my head, where I was thinking like, oh my God, a demon's gonna possess and take over me and I'm never gonna be myself again. It was almost like, it felt really natural. Like riding a bike again after 10 years of not touching a bike, okay? It just came over me. And the things that I didn't know shamans do, it just came out of me. So because some people, they watch a lot of shamans. So they know the motions, the chants, the kind of, you know, nuances that shamans do, right? I didn't know any of that. I don't know what any of it looks like. So the last time I saw a shaman, when I first entered the spirit world, the last time I actually saw one, I don't even know. Maybe in my early teens. Okay, like, so it was not something I knew. Like, I don't know what they do, you know, like I don't know what they're chanting or what they're saying. You know, but you know, like for me, it didn't help that my chants were in another language. It wasn't even Hmong. So it was just, it was weird all around, you guys. You know, but again, at any point in time, if I want to, I can stop. I can say no. Now, have I ever been possessed? Yes, I have been possessed. If you've seen my other videos. I know it sounds scary, you guys. Okay, but in that moment, it was scary when I was possessed. Really briefly, in case y'all can't find that video, I was just starting to be a shaman. And this is why it's scary for people. Like, people aren't aware how scary it is. I don't mean to like glow up being a shaman. Okay, it's not just about fairy tales and fun and you get gifts, okay? I was stupid and I didn't know. I went to go and visit somebody who had passed away. And I went to the wrong place of where to visit them, and they attempted to possess me. It hurt like a It hurt. It felt like, it's almost like you can't breathe and your lungs and everything is on fire and your chest is being constricted, and it feels like something's like pushing, really like squeezing you, and because it's fighting to stay in you and you're trying to fight to push it out, and it hurts. Like, you can't think clearly. Like, all you can think and all you can feel is everything that spirit is feeling and wants to say and wants to do. And it is a blinding pain. And my spirit guides came and they pushed it out because they wanted to kill it. But I refused to let them kill it because of who that spirit was. It meant a lot to the people. So I couldn't kill this spirit, okay? It's like what do you do? You know, so my natural instinct is to kill when I am in the spirit world. It's not to save, okay? Don't think of me as a savior. Clearly, I'm running from you. I will sacrifice you guys first, okay? Like, so like, that is my natural instinct. But I'm like in a ton of pain and I'm yelling, no, like, don't kill it. Like, this is not gonna be me, okay? I'm not going down in history for killing this spirit, okay? Like, no. Now, I learned my lesson there and I never did it again, I'll tell you that. But, you know, at least, you know, I can say I know what it's like to be possessed. But yeah, no, it's anyways. So it's nothing like being a vessel to just other spirits. And, you know, like when I was younger, I was constantly having spirits go through me and talking, because I would talk as them, I would become them. So that's how I knew it wasn't an imaginary friend who I could see and just talk to from a distance. No, they would go into me and then they would talk. And then I would gain all their knowledge and hear everything that they're thinking and feeling. So, you know, I was very already accustomed to accepting my actual spirit guides when it did happen. Now, people ask about, you know, like cleanliness though, because it is important for shamans to be clean. You have to be clean of your body, mind, and your spirit. So there's caveats to that though. So for most women, when they have their menstrual cycle, they typically are not allowed to go into the spirit world where you carry your spirit guides with you, because you're their vessel, right? It's considered very unclean to them. That's why. Some spirit guides won't mind though. They won't. When you're pregnant, you can oneng. So that means you're going into the spirit world. There's no problem if you're pregnant. However, after you've had the baby, you want to wait. Okay? Just wait. So we always do this 30 days, fully, you know, like you want to make sure you do that before you actually go and do it again. But that's really so because of the strain your body just went through. You don't want to put your body into more strain, because if anybody has seen a monk shaman go, it's a lot of work. It's a whole workout, man. It's cardio. So it's not like easy kind of like, I'm just sitting here chanting and I'm going. No, there's a lot of motion involved. So that's pretty much why. Your spirit guides, though, want to take you to clean yourself, though. And most shamans will know this, because whenever you go into the spirit world, your guides are constantly cleaning you. Okay? Sorry, that was directed a little too much at my own spirit guides. They're constantly cleaning you. So if I go somewhere dirty, if I smell something dirty, if I'm around someone dirty, they do not like it. So especially when it comes to food. So if I eat something, if it's too old, if it's more than 2 days old, if it's been sitting out for too long, if my spirit guides find it to be disgusting, they will make me throw up. Okay, and that is the number one thing I hate doing in my life. So it's like they found it, the one thing I hate the most, and they're like, that's what we're going to do to you. So yeah, so I can't do that. You know, you guys know, when I drink, when I have like one drink in me and somebody asks me for some kind of shaman service, okay? Like suddenly there's a ghost child in the corner and they ask me to like clean their house, okay? As I'm doing it and I'm doing the chants, when I'm doing my chants, it's not me. I don't know these chants by memory. My spirit guides come through me to communicate the chants out. I'll start gagging, like I'm gonna throw up. So, you know, because I'm not clean, my body's not clean for them, so then they want to make me gag and throw up. So what's it like? It's basically like when you're daydreaming. So imagine you're daydreaming, you know, like you're in class, it's really boring, and you're daydreaming. You're present, you're there. At any point in time, if you wanted to stop daydreaming, you can. And nobody would even know that you were daydreaming, because you could be looking right at somebody, but you're thinking of all these other things and not focusing on that person, okay? So that is pretty much what it's like. It's not scary at all, because you still have such a sense of control. And I always remember one time I went into the spirit world, and then I was tired, okay? I was just tired, so I stopped. I had my spirit guides take me down, and I stopped. And then I happened to have my girlfriend there, who is also a shaman like me, who can talk to spirits and see spirits. She snitched on me because she was like, well, my teacher's there too. She's like, well, why'd you just stop? Your spirit guides aren't even done. I was like, I'm tired, man. I'm done. But yeah, so yeah, I'll never forget that. So really, you guys, with it being a vessel and how it's so different from being possessed, you know, there's huge differences here. You know, when you're just a vessel, it's like, just imagine you have a vase and you're filling it up with water, and when you're done with it, you pour the water out. When you want more water, you know, like it's that, it should be that smooth and easy, you guys. This isn't like it's locked in there and you can't get it out no more, okay? That's not the vessel, okay? But, you know, as a shaman in itself, when I talk about the clean of mind, though, that is important. So it's just as important as being clean by your spirit and your body, right? So whenever shamans typically go and do a ceremony or go into the spirit world, we also have to bathe ourselves in holy water, our version of holy water. And when you're not clean of mind, though, you really need to, your spirit guides will do something to you in the spirit world. I can't tell you what it is that they do to you, because your spirit guides have to do it for you. But shamans in general, you should not be a very angry individual. I'll just be honest. Because if you tend to be a rather cynical and angry person, it doesn't bode well. Because there are a lot of types of spirit guides who will not come to you if you are not suitable for them. Meaning you have to reach Zen, okay? Like, sure, things bother you because we're human, right? Like, I'm really bad when it comes to driving. Like, I'm ready to fight people, okay? Like, but it's because I'm a really just person. But when people are in their cars, man, they act like they have no shame. But if we were out in public and you pull that same stunt, you would never do that. Okay, like, but when people are in their cars, they act like they're a totally different person. Okay, like just fight me. Okay, like, just, anyway, so, you know, I'm just saying, like, with those kind of things, like, that kind of stuff, you know, it still bothers me, you know, obviously, but you can't carry it with you into the spirit world. Like, I'm gonna go find that driver in the spirit world because I'm gonna do something to you. Like, you cannot go to that level, okay? Even I know that. Okay, like, because I don't know a whole lot. But I know that. Okay, so you can't do that. Trust me, there are times where I am tested to just take my Godzilla sword into your car, okay? There's many times I have been tested. But I can't do it, even if I really want to. So that's what I mean, though. And that's also why shamans, they have to go into the spirit world often, because they got to clean you. The higher you elevate yourself, you know, with your mind, which is really hard, it's basically the more enlightenment and spirits will come to you. That's why. This is my does it suck? Yes face. Okay. Now, are they controlling? That is different from possession, okay? Possession is they will possess you and refuse to let you do what you want to do. So, can they be controlling? They're not letting me say the Y word. They are not controlling. They just know what's best for you. I'm sorry, you guys. There are certain things I cannot say, okay? So I'm just telling y'all, they are not controlling. They just know what's best for you because you are them and they are you, okay? So they would not want to hurt themselves and they wouldn't want to hurt you because you guys are the same entity. You're just not always aware of it and that they're there. So you think it's you. But, you know, like I've noticed, even though, yeah, I can talk to them and see them, there's a lot of times where I play really dumb or I'm just dumb because I'll keep doing something and I'll keep looking randomly at, nobody is there, but I'll just keep looking into that corner. And it's because they're trying to tell me something is there. That's why they make me look. Even if I'm not aware that there's something there, they'll make me look and look. And then later on, I'll look again. I'm like, oh my God, there it is. So it's just, you know, like they'll sometimes have you do things that you're not really aware why you're doing it, but you just do it. And so again, they're not controlling. So I hope that kind of helps you guys with shamanism, especially like, you know, like I know that it just seems sometimes, especially like with other religions, they might, because they don't understand it and they don't really know it, because they don't want to either. I don't blame them. It's just, you're not possessed. It's not possible for them to possess you, because if they are, that's not what it should be, you guys. There should never be a shaman who is being possessed, where they feel like they're not themselves and they can't control it and they can't stop it. Because then that's when, you know, there's a lot of red flags. You should probably seek assistance somewhere to help you. Because, again, you should be them and they should be you. Anything that tries to actually possess you, it's not good for you and you should seek out help. I'm just saying. Alright, you guys. Long welcome back video. This weekend, I am going to Chicago. It's going to be celebrating my birthday. I am turning 35 years old, you guys. It's okay. I'm not so worried about 35 anymore. You know, when I was turning 30, it was hard. It was a hard pill to swallow. But, yeah, now that I'm turning 35, it just is. It is what it is, okay? All right, you guys. Until next time.